A thrilling weekend at the FIA post-race press conference at the 2023 Italian Grand Prix has left the world of Formula One buzzing. The top three drivers, Max Verstappen and Sergio Pérez from Red Bull Racing, alongside Carlos Sainz from Ferrari, were in the limelight. The ever-tenacious Verstappen achieved a record 10 consecutive wins, crediting his victory to team effort and a fruitful mistake from Sainz. However, Sainz and Perez didn't lag behind. Sainz defended strenuously against the Red Bulls, resulting in tyre degradation, but still hailed his third-place finish as a step forward. Perez, too, praised his performance in catching up with the leaders despite the lack of straight-line speed from his car. But the drivers know the upcoming Singapore race won't be a walk in the park. Amidst tyre degradation, doctor's impact, and teammate battles, Sainz had a smashing weekend with his qualifying performance. The driver's experiences and insights have set an excitingly high bar for the upcoming races. Quite a spectacle, wasn't it? Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Enzo. And I'm William, ready for another riveting discussion. We're here every day on F1 Motor Fever podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications to stay updated. Now, off we go. The intensity of the 2023 Italian Grand Prix was encapsulated brilliantly in the post-race press conference with our top three finishers. Carlos Sainz, finishing third, depicted a race that was as tough as it gets, pushing hard to keep the Red Bulls in his rearview mirror, a strategy that took its toll on his tyres. He also highlighted the thrill of racing against his teammate, Charles, stating that it had always been a pleasure. Despite acknowledging the superior speed of Red Bull, Sainz seemed satisfied with his P3 finish at Monza, commending it as a significant improvement from Zandvoort. "We've been the best of the rest," he said, clearly proud of Ferrari's performance. The exhilaration of the race was echoed by Sergio Pérez, who finished second, despite facing multiple challenges. The Red Bull driver expressed his struggle with the slower pace, especially when it came to overtaking Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. Perez, however, showed his grit and determination, creatively trying outside lines at Parabolica. Despite moments of doubt, his patience paid off in the end as he managed to overtake both Ferrari drivers. He ended on a positive note, anticipating progress and better form in the forthcoming races, following significant improvements on the setup side. It's fascinating, isn't it, how these little changes in setup can dramatically alter a driver's race? Indeed it is, William. The driver to really steal the show, however, was Max Verstappen. He achieved yet another record, that's 10 in a row. When asked about this extraordinary feat, Verstappen humbly admitted he never thought it would be possible. But alas, it was not an easy victory. He recounted his battle with Sainz in the early stages of the race, highlighting how Sainz's superior top speed made it difficult for him to make a move. But eventually, patience paid off and Verstappen seized his moment when Sainz locked up, allowing Verstappen to gain better traction out of turn 2. From then on, it was smooth sailing to another historic victory. Max Verstappen's humility persisted even in the press conference following the race. He acknowledged that achieving 10 wins in a row was something he hadn't expected at the start of the season, but expressed pride in the accomplishment and the consistent performance of his team. He reiterated the good pace they had during the race and how they managed the tyres. The Red Bull driver also mentioned a small issue they had to navigate towards the end of the race, but luckily, they had a considerable gap behind them, allowing him to slow down without losing position. That's the sign of a well-oiled machine, isn't it? The ability to manage issues on the go and still maintain the winning position. Precisely, William. Verstappen was also asked about the nature of the racing that day and why it seemed more exciting than on other tracks. He put it down to the difficulty of overtaking. The thrill was amplified because they were faster than those in front and had to find a way to pass. Interesting perspective, isn't it? It truly is. The challenge to overtake seems to add an extra layer of excitement and unpredictability to the race. It's not just about speed, but also strategy and patience. Delving deeper into the race, Verstappen provided a little more insight into the issue he had towards the end of the race. It seems the team had instructed him on how to nurse the car to the finish line, utilizing the comfortable lead they had. However, he didn't go into specifics about what the issue was. Looking towards the future, he anticipates a more challenging race in Singapore, yet remains optimistic, stating they will do their best to secure another win. It's remarkable how they adapt and strategize in real time. Now, what about our second-place finisher, Sergio Pérez? Perez revealed that the race was a continuous battle for him. Starting with George Russell and moving through to the Ferraris, it was not an easy ride. His fights with Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz were close, both involving some contact, but fortunately, no damage was done. He did note though, that such fierce competition is to be expected when vying for these positions. Despite describing their Saturday as terrible due to issues in the third practice, he managed to secure a podium finish, which he was understandably happy about. Sergio Pérez, echoing Max Verstappen's earlier sentiments, also anticipates a challenging race in Singapore. He emphasizes the importance of a strong Saturday and a front row start to have a shot at victory. Always about that front row start, isn't it? It reminds me of when I used to race in the go-kart championships as a kid. My dad would always say, if you aren't at the front at the start, you'd better be at the front at the end. William, I never knew you were a go-karter. Is there a title I should be aware of? No titles, Enzo, just fond childhood memories. But let's not forget Carlos Sainz's performance. Despite the pressure, he held off and pushed his tires to the limit, securing a podium finish in front of the Tifosi in Monza. It seems like he was playing a risky game with his tires during the first stint while trying to keep Max behind him, which almost cost him the podium. Absolutely, it's a fine balance, isn't it? You know, that reminds me of a time when I was a junior reporter covering a local race. I remember seeing a young driver flat out for the entire race, only to lose out on the last lap due to worn-out tires. It was heartbreaking, but it taught me the crucial importance of strategy and management in racing. Oh, come off it, Enzo. You make it sound like you were on the pit wall with the crew. Now, William Turner, you're scoffing, but trust me, it was quite an experience. Being there, right in the thick of it, really gives you a different perspective. Apologies, Enzo. I didn't mean to belittle your experience. It's indeed these real-life moments that give us unique insights into the sport. To continue with Sainz's reflections, he admitted to pushing his tires harder than he should have in an attempt to keep his competitors behind. This aggressive move, however, nearly cost him his podium finish, but, as he stated, he was committed to trying and using every last bit of those tires to maintain his position. That's the spirit, isn't it? Leaving nothing on the table. Absolutely, William. As for the team orders, Sainz acknowledged there was expected to be a bit of a battle since both drivers were competing for a podium finish. Yet, despite some close encounters, they managed to keep it clean, resulting in some thrilling moments for the viewers. His appreciation for the battles he had with Max, Checo, and Charles speaks volumes about his sportsmanship and the spirit of competition. Indeed, Enzo. It's these tight battles that make Formula One so entertaining to watch. And here's the silver lining in all this, William. Despite the extreme tire degradation, Sainz insisted that he didn't want to go home with any regrets. He was determined to give it his all, to try for the win, and to stay ahead. That's the kind of commitment and determination that can turn any challenging scenario into an opportunity for growth and learning. You're absolutely right, Enzo. It's a testament to his character and a reminder to all of us to always give our best, regardless of the circumstances. The question of doctors, or drag reduction system, has come up again. It seems to have had a reduced effect at this circuit due to the low downforce setups, resulting in more action in the braking zones rather than overtaking on the straights. This brings to mind a recent debate I had with a few other racing enthusiasts about this exact issue. Funnily enough, I found myself in a similar conversation at last week's Formula One fan forum. Really? It's certainly a hot topic. Going back to the drivers, Max Verstappen feels that the passing issue varies from track to track and depends on the car's efficiency and downforce. He finds it difficult to overtake when following a car due to the efficient nature of the cars and the increased downforce. Indeed, Enzo. And Sergio Pérez, chiming in with Max's sentiment, also believes that less doctors is not the way forward. He mentions that the cars are becoming increasingly challenging to follow and a decreased doctors effect might not lead to better racing. On the other hand, Carlos Sainz regards the doctors' effect in this race as rather coincidental, attributing the thrilling battle to the Red Bull's ability to catch up under braking using doctors, slipstream, and the battery. This led to an exciting battle, despite the less effective doctors. It's interesting how these technical factors can have such a profound impact on the dynamics of the race, isn't it, Enzo? As we continue, Carlos Sainz suggests that doctors will remain a crucial component in the majority of the tracks, due to the increasing difficulty to follow other cars. He believes Monza is a special case, given the long straights for slipstreaming which assists the car behind. That's an interesting point, Enzo. I wonder, given these challenges and the anticipated difficulty following cars in other tracks, how will teams adapt their approaches to ensure competitive racing? That's a question for the teams, William. Our drivers are only as good as their machines allow them to be. In a lighter note, Sainz seems to enjoy the playful title of Minister of Defense and Minister of Attack, depending on the weekend. He shared that he never felt too much risk when battling with Charles Leclerc, acknowledging that a teammate's battle always comes with a bit more tension. It's nice to see that camaraderie and humor, isn't it, Enzo? And speaking of defense, it seems Carlos was quite satisfied with his defensive performance, though he admitted he'd rather be on the attack. Definitely, William. Now, turning to the matter of tire degradation, despite the intense battles, Sainz didn't experience a significant loss in performance. This observation quite aligns with Charles Leclerc's suggestion of the low downforce package playing a role. So, in terms of tire management, would it be fair to think that the role of downforce and its impact on tire degradation might be a key focus area for the teams in the upcoming races, Enzo? Carlos Sainz goes into a bit more detail about tire degradation, comparing Ferrari to Red Bull. He notes that from lap 5 or 6, when tires reach optimal temperature, the Red Bull has an edge. The Red Bull either manages more while maintaining a good pace, or it pushes for a faster pace with less degradation. Quite the balancing act, isn't it, Enzo? More speed or less wear, one of the many strategic decisions teams face during a race. Absolutely, William. Sainz believes much of this is down to aerodynamics and underscores the importance of continuing to improve their aero package for next year. He also brings up the topic of team orders and the risk of losing a podium in this special race for Ferrari. And how did Carlos feel about that, Enzo? He said he could understand both sides. He wouldn't have liked team orders if he were Charles aiming for a podium, acknowledging that it's all very dependent on the position you're in. In the end, he felt it was a good, hard battle between teammates, which is likely what fans want to see. An open, fair battle, the essence of racing, wouldn't you agree, Enzo? Indeed, William. Moving on, we have Max Verstappen's take on tire degradation. He notes that it was a bit warmer today, which could have caused increased tire wear. He also mentions the impact of running in dirty air behind Carlos in the early laps, which placed additional stress on his tires. This just goes to show how much a race is influenced by factors beyond the driver's control, doesn't it, Enzo? Absolutely, William. Being a successful driver is about quick reflexes and speed, but it's also about understanding and managing these complex factors. Continuing the tire degradation discussion, Sergio Pérez notes that the red flag on Friday meant that no one got to do more than 4 or 5 laps, so teams were somewhat in the dark about how the tires would perform. The warmer conditions today also likely contributed to higher degradation. The unpredictable nature of racing, exemplified there, Enzo. Absolutely, William. In fact, Carlos Sainz echoes that sentiment, stating that the degradation felt high, almost like a 2-stop race than a 1-stop one. Apparently, he was running on virtually zero rubber towards the end of each stint, pushing his tires to their limits. That must have been incredibly challenging, especially towards the end of the race. Indeed, William. However, despite those challenges, Sainz reflects positively on the weekend, acknowledging that it was probably one of his strongest in his Ferrari career so far. He felt comfortable with the car, especially during qualifying, and was able to put together strong laps during the race. It's always a pleasure to see a driver and car in perfect harmony, isn't it, Enzo? Yes, William, it's a sight to behold. Sainz wraps up by noting where they need to improve: tire understanding and race pace understanding. It's clear he's ready to put his head down and work with the team to improve these areas. William, any interesting chatter on the internet about today's topic? Let's see, Enzo. We've got a post from Outlandishness Pure 2 who quotes Toto: "Our situation was different because we had 2 guys fighting against each other within the team." I don't know whether he cares about the record. It's not something that would be important for me, any of those numbers. It's for Wikipedia. Nobody reads that anyway. Hee, a cheeky dig at Wikipedia there. Indeed, Enzo Watts. And Novadova 2020 replies, "Hey, I use Wikipedia all the time. I feel insulted." In response, Off the Pace suggests, "Somebody add this quote to Toto's Wikipedia page, quick." I like that suggestion. Continuing, Bath_ defends Wiki saying, "It's the best source for structured facts and results. No ads or other mess." Bad Janet agrees, saying that she donates to keep it ad-free. Admirable, it's important to support such resources. There's also some discussion about Rosberg's 7 in a row and Hamilton's 5. What are they saying? Cheshire Cheesecakey is quite surprised by that statistic. I was blown away to see Rosberg with 7 and Hamilton with 5. How the heck did that happen? Quite an interesting point, indeed. There's more, but the language gets a bit strong. Let's just say that the fans are passionate about their views. Well, that's no surprise, is it, William? Not in the least, Enzo, not in the least. Thank you all for joining us today on F1 Motor Fever podcast. We've had an informative and engaging discussion about the recent race and various aspects surrounding it. As always, we appreciate your company and look forward to having you with us for future episodes. Do subscribe, activate those notifications, and share our podcast with your fellow Formula One enthusiasts. Your comments and engagement keep our wheels turning. Yes, whether you're sharing our podcast in your online platforms or discussing our engaging content over a pint with your mates, we appreciate it. Remember, we're on air every day at 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock in the evening, so don't be a stranger. And would be remiss if we didn't extend a huge thank you to our behind-the-scenes heroes, Felipe and Vicente. They keep this show running as smoothly as a well-oiled race car. Absolutely, their hard work doesn't go unnoticed. We can't wait to bring you more exciting content, so stay tuned. That's right, William. So until next time, remember, pedal to the metal, keep your gaze on the road, our channel's content is pure gold. Roll the vignette.